Hello everybody and welcome back to Águeda in Portugal. It's round 12 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Portugal. The last time we came here was back in 2013 where Gauthier Paulin was victorious. So we've had a little bit of a sabbatical, but we're back. Tony Cairoli is the current championship leader, 67 points clear of Gauthier Paulin, who was the winner here last time, and then Clément de Salle is third, just 3 points further back. We had an interesting qualifying race yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see what happens today in race one. Jeff Emig alongside me, Paul Malin and Jeff. We had a great racetrack yesterday. We'll see the qualifying highlights in a moment, but at the same time, we'll also see the circuit for those who are joining us for the first time with our GoPro track preview coming up shortly. We'll talk the guys through that. But 30 degrees, the warmest day so far. Yeah, it's getting even warmer as the day goes on here, and great track, kind of hard packed in spots, putting down plenty of water to keep the dust down, and lots of jumps, a lot of small uphills, downhills, a lot of off cambers, a lot of sliding the bike around. Well, if you are joining us for the first time, then sit back, strap yourselves in, because here's our GoPro track preview. So, Rui Gonçalves and Jorge Prado take us for a spin around Águeda. If you're on the outside, it's 86 meters if you go to the diagonal, to the inside, 74 if you're up the inside. A significant difference before you hit the box pole shot, Jeff. Yeah, definitely want to be lined up to the rider's left, be on the inside. Taking a look at the track here, you start to come around this first sweeper and jump down this Monster Energy sort of downhill tabletop. This is where you really get into some braking bumps. You try to turn the bike left and step back up over. Yeah, and turn the bike on the right. This kind of falls away, a little bit of an off-camera, not so bad, but definitely downhill. Yeah, turn 5 here, slightly back to the outside, but look how dry and loose and rocky it is. One or two little ledges out there on some of the step-ups. Not so bad on this one, but the one previous, we see that the circuit changes here. It used to step up onto the plateau, but we turn right, head up onto the infield over this new loop, triple in and double down. And you see there's the old hill now where we rejoin here. It used to be that little definitive plateau dropping off. Up another Monster Energy tabletop right here, which is ended up being one of the best passing places on the track right here. This right-hander before these rollers. And if you go to the inside, you don't have quite as much momentum, but if you go to the outside, you can get a really good run across these 7 rollers. Another interesting section here where there's 2 different lines where you double down. Notice that single on the inside. You go around the outside, maybe carry a little momentum, but when those berms blow out, it makes it hard to step back up this and get the bike turned to the right here on this tight right-hander. Off camber here before the Tag Heuer mechanics area. Yeah, very slick there, that turn 14. Full gas past the pit lane area, over the single jump to the inside, and just when you think you've got it under control, there's another single to the right as well. Into the final corner, the riders then charge to the Monster Energy finish line jump here. And then when they land, it's changing up a gear, over the double step down, uphill, into this long sweeping right-hander, turn 17. A lot more of a bowl to it. It used to be more off camber falling away here, but then it's hard and slick. Again, a choice of lines through the penultimate turn, over the Ippon jump, and that is a lap here at Águeda before they rejoin at turn 1. So, take a quick look then. That's the GoPro track preview. Lisa caught up with a couple of riders. Jeremy Van Horebeek, Monster Energy Yamaha. He's back from injury, but before that, homeboy, Rui Gonçalves.
Hello and welcome to the first MXGP race here in Águeda, Portugal. So it's only fitting to speak to home rider Rui Gonçalves. Rui, just tell us, just how special is it for you to have Portugal back on the calendar here in 2017?
Yeah, definitely, it's really special. You know, I'm really happy to be back home and have a great crowd like we can see here today. So really proud of being Portuguese and being here. Yeah.
So what is the aim for today? I guess is to use your experience to get a personal best in front of all your fans?
Yeah, that should be great. You know, yesterday didn't went like I wanted, and today we're going to do some extra effort to try to move some positions forward. And like you said, maybe get the best what I can here in Portugal, yes.
I have to say, it is an incredible atmosphere. Knowing that a lot of them are going to be behind you must make a huge difference.
Yes, for sure. You know, it's a big positive vibe that I have behind me, and I can't thank them enough for this.
Okay, well, thanks for chatting to us. Thanks for that, Rui. Okay, the next rider I want to speak to is Man Van Horebeek. We last saw him in Russia, but he dislocated his finger, and he's back this weekend. So I just want to have a quick catch-up with him, see how it's going, see how he's feeling on the bike. Okay, he's over here. Jerryman, just grab a quick word, just get you out from here. Just give us an update on the finger, because we didn't see you last round in Ottabiana. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's only 3 weeks since I broke my finger in Russia, so the doctors say, you know, you need 4 to 5 weeks to be healthy 100%. But I felt good yesterday. You know, it's getting more difficult because as more as I brake, as more pain I get, you know. So it's not easy to brake with the foam brake, but let's hope I can manage the pain and have some good points for the championship still, and just want to enjoy riding.
And also, actually, things are starting to heat up for the first MXGP race out there. It's not going to be easy, is it?
No, you know, it's pretty warm also, and the track is pretty gnarly on some places, so it's going to be, you know, smooth and consistent riding is the key, I guess, and have fun.
Okay, we'll enjoy it. Thank you. The Jerry man there. Good luck to all the guys here. It's time for MXGP Race 1.
So riders coming back from their sighting lap then in readiness for MXGP Race 1. Quick look at the championship. Something like this. Tony Cairoli, 67 points clear of Gauthier Paulin, who advanced to second after a third and a 10th in Italy a week ago. De Salle drops to third. Hurlings is now fourth, ahead of Geiser, Fevre, Van Horebeek, Nagel, Bobashev and Tonus. We'll see the qualifying highlights from yesterday in a moment, Jeff. It was an interesting qualifying race, to say the least. I guess not, you know, mostly because it was Suzuki that was victorious here, and it wasn't Kevin Strybos, who was back from injury.
Yeah, it was a great race. Let's take a look at these highlights. I mean, it started out with...
Well, the gate dropped here, and great start for the number 27, Arminas Jasikonis, who cut to the inside here. Look, that's how he came through.
Yeah,
I mean, Sal span out.
He was so far back in the first turn, and the 27 there comes out with the whole shot. Just outstanding. Everyone at Suzuki World MXGP team, Stefan Everts and everybody have to be super happy. And Jasikonis just absolutely dominated this race, and behind him there was tons of great action.
Yeah, this was Cairoli down the inside of Van Horebeek. That got him into fourth early on, and then Fevre was a little bit further back, but Van Horebeek wasn't in the mood for hanging around. He wanted to try and stay ahead of the 8-time champ as long as possible, but with Jasikonis disappearing at the head of the field, and Cairoli still having a go with Van Horebeek, out of nowhere, Fevre went through past Van Horebeek and Tony Cairoli to get himself up into fourth place. But for second, it was this battle here. Number 12, Max Nagel, Geiser, and Fevre. They were your top four. There was Cairoli fifth, then Van Horebeek in sixth. Then Geiser had this moment.
Yeah, that was on
third.
That was on lap 3. Geiser goes off the track. He's going to drop down to fifth after that, but he did a fine job of keeping the bike on two wheels, which is really important. And meanwhile, out front, the Suzuki rider was making it look easy. You would think that he won dozens of these events.
Yeah, he'd only led a handful of laps, quite literally, before leading that moto. Tony Cairoli all of a sudden got second wind, found his way around the outside of Romain Fevre. That put him into third on lap 9. But that's not where he would stay, as there was a little twist in the tail a little later on in the race. Gauthier Paulin and Glenn Koltnoff were having their little battle as well for 9th place. Despite that effort from the 21 of Gauthier Paulin, it was Koltnoff who eventually came home in 9th, Paulin in 10th. Whoa, man went down there just in front of Paulin. And that was Didika, who fell from 8th and broke his front brake in that little crash as well. So he had to pull out. He will go to the line in 25th. Closing stage of the race, final lap in fact. Max Nagel, who was there into second place. Cairoli was catching him, having disposed of Fevre 2 or 3 laps before. Started putting a charge on the German. And then this was the drama here, Jeff.
Watch this move here. Cairoli, your points leader, thinks he has it. He doesn't have it. Nagel manages to keep it on 2 wheels. Cairoli would remount quickly, but pretty aggressive move here for being late in the qualifying race right there, and he would drop back to 4th as Fevre would go by. But this was the man of the hour.
Yeah, first ever race win for Jasikonis, and you can hear him there just underneath that helmet of his. So a Lithuanian won a qualifying race or a moto in MXGP for the first time ever, and Jasikonis will go to the line on pole. Max Nagel second, Roman Fevre third, Tony Cairoli fourth, Geiser, Herlings, Van Horebeek, and Strybos.
And as we look at the rest of the lineup sheet here, we'll point out that in the morning warm-up here today, qualifying race was yesterday, Jasikonis, who was your winner, he qualified 22nd quickest today. Quite a ways off the pace. I'm not sure what the problem was there. He was about 5 seconds off of the fastest time. Whether there was an issue or he just didn't get a clean lap or he was just playing it safe or whatever. I mean, that's a big number. That's not a number that he would normally throw. A guy that just won the qualifying race would put up in the morning warm-up. So let's see if this was just kind of a one-off little hiccup right here, and if the Suzuki rider, who has first gate pick here for both motos today, if he can do something with it and be the first Lithuanian to win a moto here.
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing with warm-up on Sunday is just the fact that some riders choose to attack it. You know, their time training on Saturday gets them the grid position for the qualifying race. Their qualifying race determines their position for the moto. So when they go out on Sunday morning, some people just, you know what, just have a few laps just to warm up. They don't put any intensity into it. They don't need to. And so, you know, you're probably just cruising.
Well, Fevre is not one of those riders. He was third yesterday. He came out quickest today in warm-up with a 150.5, and he was half a second quicker than Jeffrey Herlings.
So what were the warm-up times this morning then? Who were the first 5 or 6?
150.5 for Fevre. Herlings, Anstey, Cairoli, Koldenhoff was a 152, so about 2.5 seconds off. But Cairoli was in there in 4th, just about a second off of the quickest time.
Last week you were with us in Lombardia at Ottaviano, Jeff. It was an outstanding performance from Tony Cairoli, wasn't it? It was almost superhuman in terms of he just made everybody else look very ordinary, even the guy that we just saw a glimpse of there to the right of Tim Geiser, Jeffrey Herlings, the Sandman. Yeah,
and for sure last week, I mean, all the fans that watched that race, you saw a rider in his home country, certainly motivated by that type of track that he likes. I mean, look, like you said, just superhuman. Now we've got a different style of track. He has won here before. He hasn't won on the Red Bull KTM. All of his wins here came on the Yamaha. Herlings has won here before.
Yeah.
Geiser's won here before.
There's a bunch of guys. We'll go into that in the second moto. But the fans up on their feet can hear them whistling and hollering and cheering over there. We've got a great crowd here. The first time back here since 2013 at Agata. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. MXGP Race 1, the MXGP of Portugal, is just moments away. I would say we're going to be hitting the 15-second board in about 15-second time, because that's how prompt we are here at the FIM Motocross World Championship. It's round 12 of the 2017 World Championship Series. Ingo Parch, our FIM race director, already moving into position. There you go, right on time. The 15-second board goes up. He wouldn't have it any other way. Takes one last look behind, make sure that everything is clear. You've got the Geiser fans over here, you've got the Portuguese fans over there, the Italians, and then everybody else mixed in. And it's a fantastic crowd. Great occasion here. Last minute look down for Nagel up the inside gate 2. Jasikonis pulls a good start, but he might have to just tuck it to the inside like he did in moto number 1 in the qualifying race. That's exactly what he does. But it's Cairoli who gets the top of the hill first, and Herlings in second. Nagel third. Jasikonis, what a great recovery that was from 4th. Not the best jump again, but he was right there.
Yeah, it looks like Fevre maybe.
Yeah, Fevre or Van Horebeek.
Definitely Yamaha in there.
Yeah, Fevre. Then Coldenhoff. DeSalle up on 2 wheels, dropping down on the inside on that Kawasaki. So he takes Coldenhoff wide. Geiser's in there just behind him. In fact, Bobryshev just behind him as well. So 2 Hondas inside the top 10.
Certainly the Rebel KTMs, the Cairoli and Erlings, the winners off of that start. You look back in the pack here, Geiser 10th, his teammate Bobryshev 11, Gauthier Paulin, who set second points, he's 12. Van Horebeek on the Yamaha 13th. Anstey, who was had a podium last week, his first podium here at MXGP, he's back in 15th now. Tonis, who's been quick, 16th.
Yeah, wow. A little bit of moving and shaking gonna be needed here on this opening lap, but Jasikonis side by side with Jeffrey Hurlings.
This outside's gonna be quick.
The bottom of the hill.
Got it.
Great move there from Jasikonis on that Suzuki World MXGP machine. Splits the 2 Red Bull KTMs. Goes after Cairoli at the end of this first lap, showing that it's not a flash in the pan performance yesterday. Of course, still a long way to go. 28.5 minutes plus 2 laps still.
Hopefully Arminas isn't too disappointed in me pointing out that bad warm-up lap time that he had here today when he watches this race back, because he's going to make me eat my words here, at least my thoughts on what that was all about, because he is definitely on pace. I mean, he was fantastic yesterday, clearly the best guy.
Yeah, well, Suzuki do have a good showing around here. DeSalle's won 3 times around here. Kevin Schreibos, who's back from injury, and where is he? Just inside the top 20 at the moment. He's also won here in MXGP, MX1 then, of course, when he won it, but it's Cairoli who leads, Jasikonis second, Hurlings is third, Nagel, DeSalle just dropping downhill on that Monster Energy Kawasaki ahead of Roman Fevra's Monster Energy Yamaha and the KTM of Coldenhoff, Geiser, Bobryshev 9, Van Horebeek just being passed there by Bobryshev. So the Jerryman in 10th place at the end of this first lap. And look at that move there from Fevra, looking to get on terms with the Kawasaki of DeSalle, number 25. You see them battling towards us underneath the city bridge here now.
Fevra going to try to get to the inside, skating across those rocks.
Had to jab the back brake.
Quite enough.
Goes wide at the top of the hill. Oh, and a slight bobble there for the 461 on the Monster Energy Yamaha. He's in search of his first win and first podium of 2017. Roman Fevra, he would love it to be here just to boot his championship campaign.
That is so hard to believe that a rider of Fevra's talent in a championship pedigree that he has yet to win an overall this season.
Yeah, yet to be on the podium as well.
I'm sorry, podium, yeah, even a podium, yeah.
In Lombardia, 4th overall, but well, there's Nagel. Looking down the inside of Jeffrey Hurlings, who's looked a little bit shaky at times during this season. Wasn't that impressive yesterday. Couldn't put a lap in time training to get him a decent pick for the qualifying race, but eventually came out, what, 8th, and then in the qualifying race itself, steady race to come home in 6th. So the 3-time MX2 winner might just be struggling here in the early stages of MXGP Race 1. The 2 Hondas, Bobryshev and Geiser. So Bobryshev finding his way past his Slovenian teammate there.
Looking back in the pack, Geiser's worked his way up to 10th. Yeah, Gauthier Paulin, or Van Horebeek 10th. Paulin 11th. Anstey 14th.
Tony Cairoli has put a bit of a distance between himself and Jasikonis there. Hurlings just fending off Max Nagel at the moment on the lead Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, number 12, just dropping downhill. There's DeSalle. We'll be pleased with that at the moment. 5th. Fevra, Coldenhoff, Bobryshev, as we said, finding his way past his teammate as he came over the line a moment ago. He is in 8th, Geiser 9, Van Horebeek 10, Paulin in 11th place. So the guy who was victorious here the last time we came, back in 2013, on a Kawasaki, is Gauthier Paulin. He is in 11th place with a lot of work to do. 3 seconds off the time of Tony Cairoli in these early stages, Jeff.
Taking a look at Jeffrey Hurlings, who's currently 3rd right there. Definitely using all the horsepower of that Red Bull KTM 450 to get through those rollers nice and clean. This track, the lines, for being hard packed, fairly hard packed, the track has changed so much from that MX2, the beginning of the MX2 moto, which we just previously had, to this MXGP moto. And it's dried out quite a bit. also.
Just as we were zooming down towards the Tag Heuer Bridge a moment ago, in the background I noticed Max Anstey had found his way past Arne Tones, so the Wilvo Yamaha rider getting caught for 13th there by the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Anstey, who did find the podium last week, of course, in Italy with 3rd overall, his first in his rookie season, and for his new team in MXGP, of course, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. But Jeffrey Hurling's looking all right at the moment there in that 3rd place. Looks to have settled himself down. And has he got his head down here going after Jasikonis? No, he lost about 0.6 of a second at the end of lap 2.
Take a look at the lap times. Cairoli out front. No, it was actually Jasikonis at a 1:52.3, which was your fastest lap time. Just about a 10th quicker than Cairoli out front.
Yeah, definitely feeling at home on this circuit here in Portugal. Minas Jasikonis, Tixier up to 11th, so Paulin being pushed down to 12th on his Husqvarna. So you're obviously affiliated with the Husqvarna brand, Jeff. Did you get a chance to go and talk to Gautier after the race yesterday, after qualifying, or have you spoken to him or Antti?
No, not after qualifying. We did a presentation for the 2018 line of Shift MX with Gautier, who's actually wearing a new line of our blue label this weekend. So the interesting thing that when you talk to I talked to Anstey, he was on our program yesterday, and Gautier, and what they have to say about the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team and the chemistry and all of the team members and the environment that that they're in, they speak so positively of it. I mean, they are really buying in to what the leadership has provided there, to their gelling with all of the team members and everything. It's pretty incredible chemistry that they have. So we'll see if in the coming years it doesn't produce some championships for them.
Jasikonis gets pitched to the outside there in the penultimate corner. The gap between the first 3 of Cairoli, Jasikonis and Hurlings here, number 84, is just 3.3 seconds. Cairoli at the top of the hill in turn 2. Hurlings just cresting there on the approach to that same turn.
Well, and Hurlings has just set the fastest lap of the moto at a 1:51.7. Unfortunately, Cairoli goes through at 1:51.8, which would have been the quickest time, and then 3.3 seconds later, Hurlings comes by just 1/10 of a second quicker.
Yeah,
so they're really starting to get comfortable. They're warmed up now. We're 9 minutes into this race, eight minutes into this race, and these guys are they've got all their lines figured out. They know exactly what they want to do, and these lap times are starting to come down.
Yeah, 5 seconds between the first 4 riders of Cairoli, Jasikonis, Hurlings and Nagel. DeSalle another 3 seconds further back for Monster Energy Kawasaki. He's still dealing with that very real threat of Romain Fevre on that Monster Energy Yamaha. But 21.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. This one is still there for the taking for anybody. Romain Fevre, bottom of the hill, in that turn 12, that left-hander stepping up into that top right, still with the 25 of DeSalle behind him, just ahead of him. Just behind him is Koldenhoff on the Red Bull KTM, just there, and then the first of the 2 HRC Hondas, number 777, former podium visitor here, Kenny Bobashev, ahead of his teammate Tim Geiser, who's never ridden a Grand Prix here, ridden in the European Championship here in the past, but never ridden a Grand Prix here. So this circuit, not completely alien to him, but in terms of riding a GP here, and obviously that's a different kettle of fish altogether. The 2 Hondas there at the top of the hills, 8 and 9. Van Horebeek about 3 seconds further back on the second of the Monster Energy Yamahas. Just trying to get through this weekend, of course. Here's the Jerry Man, number 89. And we've got a 2-week break after this Grand Prix before we hit Lockett in the Czech Republic on weekend number 3. So a venue that he took his first Grand Prix victory, Jeremy Van Horebeek.
Well, we got a little action up front here. Hurlings goes through last lap at a 1:51.9, 0.2 of a second quicker than Jasikonis right here, who we see on that yellow Suzuki.
This is great to see Jasikonis, isn't it? I mean, he led in Latvia for 4 or 5 laps before Hurlings eventually came by and then went on for the win to take his second race win of the weekend and his first overall Grand Prix victory. His only one win in MXGP in his rookie season, number 84, Jeffrey Hurlings. But Jasikonis, that start, that lead at the front, you know, in front of a lot of his home fans had crossed the border from Latvia into, from Lithuania into Latvia. And as Hurlings getting a little bit closer again, getting ready to set up a pass. Oh, easily done there at the bottom of the hill. But you can see the confidence that's given him. And that win yesterday in qualifying, again, just boosting him even more.
Oh, and he wisely decides to guard the inside right there. Jasikonis was going for the jugular right there. He was not going to wait. Hurlings instinctively puts the KTM on the inside and leaves him no opening.
And that is a difficult corner to make that pass happen. Off cambered, turn 14, both tires asking for a lot of traction, and as it dries out, you know, it's even more difficult.
And in the process, Hurlings goes with the fastest lap of the moto, 150.8. He was 0.7 of a second quicker than Cairoli, who's up front. So Hurlings now has put the gap to the lead at 2.5 seconds. Two Red Bull KTMs out front dominating this race, just like they did 1 week ago in Italy.
Well, here's the thing with these two riders here. Tony Cairoli has 4 Grand Prix victories, tied with Stefan Everts. So Everts is the, at this venue in Portugal, in Agada. And obviously he can't add any more to that, retired at the end of 06. But Cairoli took his last win here in the, what was MX1, now MXGP category, of course, rebranded. And he has 4 victories here, 3 in MX2, 1 in MXGP, all on Yamaha. Cairoli has never won here on a KTM. And never won here in the Premier Class since that victory in 09.
I love that line he just took there where he was entered the turn on the outside, went up that soft cushion, cut across the rut, and see if it can get him down into the 150-second lap time range, because that's where he's going to need to be, because that's where Hurling's at.
Yeah. Here's that battle with Desal and Febvre. Still frustrating the hell out of Roman Febvre in 6th position, you would think, because we're now on lap 6, and he's still got that Monster Energy Yamaha parked behind the MX Pandas Monster Energy Kawasaki. Just going back to the thing with Cairoli and Hurlings. Hurlings has won here 3 times in MX2, all of those, of course, on a KTM. But he's got good form coming in here, so are we surprised to see Hurlings closing in on Cairoli? Probably not likely.
No, but the thing is we're only here 17 minutes to go. If you remember, fans that watched last week at a very, very physically demanding, super hot race in Ottaviano in Italy, Hurlings was really strong at the middle of the races, but it was the end of the races where fitness that Cairoli had the edge on him and consequently won both motos.
Tixier got a good charge down past pit lane, found his way past Jerry Van Horebeek. Goes up to 10th, so Jeremy Van Horebeek now 11th. Tonus on the Wilbo Yamaha is 12th. Anstey, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider, 13. The Ottaviano Husqvarna of Tanner Leok, 14. 15th now for Gauthier Paulin. So really not happening for the winner out here last time in 2013. Lupino, Boutron, Gonçalves, Dupre, and Graulis ran out in the top 20.
Well, and with this bad performance that Paulin is putting in at 15th, right? Not sure what the problem is. He set 2nd points by just 1 point over Clement Desal after last week, and that's going to change right now.
Yeah, it was 3 points, wasn't it? It's now 7.
3 points, excuse me, yeah.
As Desal leapfrogs the Frenchman.
If the moto ended like it did right now, Paulin would go back to 3rd, and that would allow Hurlings to close up a little more on him.
Yeah, he's not out of a top 3 fight here. He's potentially not out of a World Championship fight here either. He's 96 off the lead of Tony Cairoli, Jeffrey Hurlings, and this is the gap between 1st and 2nd in this race. Now, if you watched MX2 race 1 earlier, I won't give that result away, but there was a team report that we featured, and it was Red Bull KTM Factory Racing MX2. Of course, Jeffrey Hurlings is under the MX2 awning at Red Bull KTM. Cairoli and Claudio De Carli, they run the MX1 show, MXGP show, I should say. And Hurlings basically saying that the reason why he's there, he's won 3 titles with them, with the current team, and he knows everybody there. And obviously, you know, why change, basically? So,
well, yeah, I mean, the chemistry that you have with the technicians and mechanics and everybody around is really important. Obviously, Hurlings has been uber successful on this Red Bull KTM, and so yeah, so the engine displacement is different. You want to keep that chemistry together, keep everybody comfortable, because we all know how mental us athletes can be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's working, don't change it, right?
Yeah, so here's DeSalle. He fell on the exit of turn 1 up the hill into turn 2 yesterday, spun out in the qualifying race, and it was a couple of laps before he made any kind of progress. And as a result of that, he eventually came home in 14th in the qualifying race, and that will put him sort of middle of the left-hand side somewhere. But Romain Febvre, who looked like he lost ground a moment ago between the finish line and the first step down, has got himself right back into contention here with some good line choice in and around the turns. Normally this hard slick surface would suit Febvre down to the ground, but as we said, just getting frustrated now behind Clément DeSalle. Can't find a way through. The Belgian just keeping the Frenchman back at bay on that 461, but he gets a good run down the inside here and makes the pass stick. Great move there from Roman. Inside line there for the first time as well.
Yeah, definitely hug that tight, and look at from the outside what you can do with that momentum. We talked about that, but
back again.
Let's see if Febvre is not going to be close enough. Oh. No, just had a rough ride all the way down there. Oh, they almost come together. Watch Febvre try to cut back underneath.
Yeah, nice.
Slams him.
And DeSalle just saying, oh, don't give me that.
Wow.
So DeSalle getting fired up.
Febvre shaking his head. Watch what the lap time. So last time around, DeSalle turned a 152.8, which was his quickest. And as we watch the action right here, he comes by at a 156 flat, so gave up a lot of time just trying to battle for position. There is no way he was going to let Febvre come back around the inside on that left-handed off-camber. It's also going to allow Holdenoff just behind them to close up.
Yeah, DeSalle had to lift his leg there as Febvre got in a bit too hot. He went 90 and 90 through that long sweeping corner at the top of the hill, turn 13, and DeSalle didn't take too kindly of it and decided to park the Yamaha at the bottom of the next hill.
Well, it's great action for television. It's exciting, but once it slows that lap time, it just doesn't do much for you in relationship to the race.
12.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Tony Cairoli just trying to do what he did a week ago to Jeffrey Hurlings and just break the bullet, because he's now 2.1 seconds clear of 51.3 compared to a 52.0, so 7/10 or thereabouts pulled back in favor of Tony Cairoli as he looks to assert his authority and flex his muscles here over the number 84. Jasikonis still putting in a great performance on that number 27 Suzuki World MXGP machine. He was a third-place finisher in race 2 in Latvia. That's been his only time inside the top 5, apart from Moto number 2 a week ago in Italy, where he finished 5th.
Looks like Tim Geiser here.
Yeah.
HRC Honda's made a move on
Borbashev,
his teammate, Evgeny Borbashev from Russia.
Yeah, and Tixier starting to close in as well. And I think Tixier, at the moment, possibly riding for a contract for next year. Of course, DeSalle, I think, is probably going to be nailed on in terms of, you know, a contract for next year. But I think possibly Tixier might be out of contract and possibly riding for a place in 2018. So performance important here for the 911 former world MX2 champ as he goes after Bobryshev. Those two cross the line, 9th and 10th. Billy. Tixier gets him though. Oh. Cairoli continues to lead that gap. Constantini at the moment, sort of 2.1, 1.8 is where it is at the moment. So Jeffrey Hurlings just responding to the fact that Cairoli trying to pull clear. Just gains a little bit more time, but 2.5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps, Jeff. Difficult to say between these two because both great champions. 3 titles in MX2 for Hurlings, 8 across the board for Antonio Cairoli. And one reacts, the other one kind of picks up on that. You can't say here or there, can you? But based on last week, you'd have to favour Cairoli.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And when you wonder just how hard Cairoli's pressing out front, last time around he was 152 flat. Hurlings was 0.3 of a second quicker. So the lead is just under 2 seconds. And as we watch Febvre here, who is still trying to make that move on Clement de Sal after 2-3 laps ago. They got together in this section, and Febvre just could not make that pass stick.
Yeah, this turn 14 here at the bottom of the hill is where all that action happened a couple of laps ago. De Sal getting his elbows out. He finds his way past the back marker at the end of the straight. And just looking further down the order, we'll give you a rundown actually of the top few guys. But already with 10 laps in the bag, Cairoli and Hurlings separated by just under 2 seconds. Jessiconis about 8 seconds further back. He was a 154.1 last time around, but Nagel is getting closer now. He's just 4 seconds adrift of the Lithuanian on that Suzuki with a 53.4. So again, a little bit of time clawed back there from the German as he goes after a top 3 place. De Sal is 5th. We just saw him a moment ago having his little battle with Romain Febvre on his Monster Energy Kawasaki. Febvre is 5 seconds clear of the Red Bull KTM of Koldenhoff. Geiser 8, Tixier 9, Bobryshev in 10, and Arnotonis has been chipping away as well. He's now up into 11th for Wilvo Yamaha MXGP. Van Horebeek 12, Anstey still stuck on 13 at the moment. Portland 14, Leot 15, Lupino, Dupre, Boutron, Gonçalves, Jeffrey de Wolf. Your final point scorer, but look how close Jeffrey Hurlings is here. That's not 1.9 seconds anymore.
No, definitely not.
And in terms of the split times, exactly the first split time in Sector 1 for these two riders, 29.476, but it was 23.999, 24.004 Hurlings Cairoli, but 33.4, 32.5. Sector 3 is where Hurlings has pulled it back. Sector 3 is his final run now. Over on the far side, we're already in Sector 4 on the run towards the finish line, and it looks like it's been a good lap for Jeffrey Hurlings. Has he got Cairoli right where he wants him? Is he going to strike? Is he going to make the move? Or is Cairoli just going to turn it up, hit second, and just leave Hurlings in his wake? Gap is 1.3. 52.5, 51.9, so 6/10.
Closed it down just a little bit, so we'll see if Cairoli starts to answer at all. If he ups the intensity, it was about 6/10 of a second slower last time around. That's going to cost him a 10th right there. So we're on lap 11.
And he'll be able to hear Hurlings bearing down on him as well. The big boom of the KTM 450. Quick pull of the tear off there from Hurlings.
Well, and the thing that starts to work psychologically negative for you if you're Cairoli is you start to hear the fans get into it. And it's not get into it because you got a nice comfortable lead.
Yeah.
It's because, hey, there's somebody on you and we've got some race action. And so obviously both riders, Tony goes a little long on that triple, goes wide. That's going to allow Hurlings to close right up. We've been in this situation before just 1 week ago. So we'll see how strong Cairoli can be. And, you win 8 world titles. He's been winning races for
since 2004, maybe.
Yeah, so 13, 14 years. You know how to handle the pressure. This is part of it. And so to ride at the very highest level of Grand Prix motocross and to withstand the pressure of a rookie, but certainly one of the a rider that has how would I
such good pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is.
He's tenacious, he's aggressive, he's hard-working, and he's about to pick off Tony Cairoli, who makes a mistake on the landing. Here's the pass for the lead. Oh, Cairoli has to take evasive action there. Gloves are off again here, folks. Rule number 1, beat your teammate. Cairoli just having to yield there to the hard, aggressive riding of Jeffrey Hurlings. He tried this a week ago. The two, look how they're jumping over those braking bumps there, landing right at the bottom. Right, Hurlings, all of a sudden, has gone, you know what? It's time for me to hit second gear. Can Cairoli come with me? And if he can, well, let's see what we can do in the next 5.5 minutes plus 2 laps. Are we going to put on a showdown for the fans here?
Well, he's got something to prove. Hurlings does for sure, because last week, Cairoli just ran him into the ground. I mean, bottom line. And Herlings was so physically depleted after the final moto last week, he didn't even attend the podium session. But what you're seeing right now is the determination out of a champion that said, hey, that's not going to be good enough, and he's regrouped. Now he's gone out there, taking the lead away from Cairoli, and he's already stretched it out so quickly.
Cairoli's a smart rider, though, isn't he? He knows that, given this situation, as we cut back to DeSalle and Febvre in 5th and 6th place, the Yamaha rider looking to square off the Kawasaki.
This one's got to make the pass. He's been eating the roost off the back of that Monster Energy Kawasaki for... they touched.
DeSalle again, and DeSalle, he's not going to be happy about that move either, and that was all because Febvre, right, we're getting ready to cue that one up. He went offline. He was on all the loose rocks and boulders. Front was going one way, the back was going the other. He was committed to the inside, and he was always going to go straight across. Right, I think we can hear it being queued up. And again, that same line inside means that Febvre just starting to lose out there, but he holds it at the bottom of the hill just from the 25 of DeSalle. So all of a sudden, Febvre then up to 5th, DeSalle down to 6th on lap 14. We've got 4 minutes to go. Right, watch this.
Febvre just over there in the marbles right there, all those rocks. He comes straight across. Not real dirty right there, but I mean, the thing about this when I see things like this is like DeSalle, you've got a good look at where Febvre's at. He's got you. Yeah. And yet he pushed the envelope and almost went down. I mean, this is what, whenever we do the broadcasting, you see a rider that just doesn't give way. You always just have this feeling like young kids at home, like you at one point, like watch Tony right here, pull up, get out of the way, don't lock tires or lock bars or anything. You know that the guy's got the pass made on you. And sometimes, like right here, like, whoops. Yeah. No, I'm gonna be smart here and let it go. And right then, DeSalle in this same turn a lap ago, I mean, he had a clear look at it. Febvre could have gone wherever he wanted to go. He was going to block the line, and DeSalle almost ended up going down. Just out of, you know, I mean, you don't want to give the spot up, sure, but at a certain point, you got to just say, hey, he's got me. Yeah, just dogged determination from DeSalle's point, just, you know, to not give up, you know, 2 championship points, because he is fighting for second at the moment with Paulin directly, but he still also believes that he's very much in the, you know, in the title hunt. 3 seconds, I think, the gap now between Herlings at the top of the hill and Cairoli. It was 2.8 anyway as they hit the line last time around. They're a couple corners away from clicking off lap 14. Well, and DeSalle, who's now, as I suspected, going to fall off the pace just a little bit from Febvre. He's going to have some company because only 3 seconds back was Glenn Coldenhoff on the Red Bull KTM, who's running 7th. And then you're going to see just at the left of your screen, you're going to see Geiser and Borbyshev on the Hondas there also. So Febvre had a couple of goes at Clément DeSalle. Eventually, the second time of asking, he got his way into 5th position. I mean, that was 25 minutes that Febvre took rocks and debris off the back of DeSalle's Kawasaki. Yeah. I mean, that was, at a certain point, you're like, I'm done with this. And that's not nice around here either, because, you know, the ground looks nice and sandy here, but you see on some of the corners, there was a lot of UFOs in there, if you like. But Cairoli now 3.2 behind Herlings, Jasenkonis, Nagel. Here's Febvre. He's 5th on his Monster Energy Yamaha. Jasenkonis still there in 3rd. That's the gap between him and Nagel. So a 54.483, 54.482, 1/1000th of a second quicker Nagel was over Jasenkonis that time around. Well, and Jasenkonis on the Suzuki is going to try to equal his personal best in a moto. He had a 3rd in Latvia in the 2nd moto. It's been his best finish so far. He's having a good weekend, and the 3rd here today would be a great way to start it, because the problem in Latvia is he didn't score any points the first moto, backs it up with the 3rd, so you can't do much with that as far as the overall. Here today, win the qualifying race, start off with the 3rd in the first moto, now you put yourself in a good position to make a podium. Yeah. But he's got company. He's got company, and it is coming down. They were equal lap times last time around to the 1,000th of a second, pretty much last time out.
Jasikonis, though, he knows that he put a lot of effort into that qualifying race yesterday. He's been equally determined to do the same here in Moto #1, where it matters for points. But there's going to be 3 laps to go because the leaders have gone through, and there's still time on the clock as Jasikonis goes by. That gap between him and Nagel coming down, a 54.473, 54.1. So
yeah, 0.3 of a second difference right there. Nagel just a tad bit quicker. So the pressure's on Jasikonis to get himself a top 3. It's a tough part of the moto. You're getting a little bit tired at this point, right? You've been out there working hard, and it's getting hot, and this is when you have to be mentally tough also. The track definitely has gone away, as it does here, and this is what makes motocross such a difficult sport, and why other stars of motorsport or action sport, when they see motocross, they just have a lot of respect for it. Because, I mean, the thing that I love about motocross specifically, which really sets us apart, is that our playing field, if you will, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this track change just in this 30-minute moto. Whereas, let's say Formula One, or if you're in a half pipe for skating or something, it stays the same essentially, right? Maybe it'll have a few changes with like temperature and whatnot, but certainly not at the degree that motocross does, especially a track like we have here in Agata.
Hurlings then getting ready to take the 2-lap board, still being pushed by the 2:22. Championship leader of Antonio Cairoli. It's a Red Bull KTM 1-2 here at the moment. The gap was more than 3 seconds last time around. Comes back about 3/10 in favor of Cairoli, so 3.6 seconds with 2 to go. Is he going to just tee up a nice little interesting 2 laps here just to get himself back into contention for a potential race win here? As he just sat back, bided his time. He took a look up there to see exactly where Hurlings is. We saw him do this late charge in the qualifying race yesterday when he attempted to pull back Max Nagel. That all went wrong on the final lap, which he was lucky to walk away from, actually, unscathed.
Yeah.
Tony Cairoli.
Well, it depends on if you're feeling it or not, right? If you're feeling it, then even if you don't win the moto, here these last couple laps, if I'm Cairoli, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the charge, and I'm going to try to reel in Hurlings and let him know that at the end of this race, I am physically the strongest. So even if he doesn't win the moto, Hurlings goes into the second moto thinking, into the moto, we've got second moto coming up later on. I'm going to be worrying about this guy.
He's definitely lighting it up. Now, that's 3 or 4 corners, Cairoli. You can see the body language all of a sudden, the elbows up, head down. I mean, when you drop down out of turn 4, that camber into turn 5, he went for the inside. He was up on the pegs through the rut, and he's definitely getting closer. All of a sudden, this is game on, folks, here with Cairoli. Write him off at your peril, and this is the confidence that comes with winning 4 Grand Prix in 2017, winning a whole bunch of motos as well. And it doesn't look like the gap is coming down enough, though. Tony Cairoli with 4 poles so far this year.
Wow, look at him flip the KTM around there. Hurlings has got a great line right through there. So they just put 2.7 on the board, pointing back to Cairoli. At the finish line last time around, it was 3.6.
Yeah, so you got clock watchers out there. Here's Hurlings, 3.6 last time around. Keep an eye on that, Jeff. But Tony Cairoli winning 7 motos already this year.
0.6 of a second quicker. So not the 2.7 that Red Bull KTM had on the board. But for sure, you can hear the PA announcer here at the track getting into it. The crowd, certainly, as they come by the first turn area right here, just massive amounts of fans there stacked up, just packed in there like sardines.
Yeah, all around the circuit.
They're letting these athletes know how much they appreciate the efforts.
Got some nice line choices here, Tony Cairoli. Still not going to give up the fight here. Is that 3 seconds at the bottom of the hill? I doubt that very much. Hurlings knows as well he can't afford to relax, because if he does, this is a nice line down here for Cairoli. You watch. He was inside middle. He was very fast through there last time, but Hurlings may have just edged it.
Oh, gets wide.
That might be it. Might be it. Never say never, though, with Cairoli or Jeffrey Hurlings. These two are pushing on a good pace here on this final lap. Tony Cairoli, the fastest lap of the race, last time around, a 51.331, was it? Oh, no, it's his own lap last time around.
Think about that.
His own fastest lap.
His fastest lap on lap 17.
Yeah.
Hurlings set his fastest lap in lap 13. Yeah. pretty deep in the moto.
Yeah.
Right? That shows you what sort of physical conditioning these athletes have.
Hurlings was the fastest lap of the race, though, a couple of laps ago. All of a sudden, just running out of time here.
See right there, that line that Hurlings has right there on that inside, I think that makes a big difference. That one spot right there.
Right, 2 corners to go. Jeffrey Hurlings, he bided his time. He played his card at the perfect time as well. Out of the final turn, not a lot in it as they hit the line, though. It's a win for Jeffrey Hurlings, but look at that, 1.2 seconds in the end, 51.153. And Cairoli, will they shake hands here, yes or no? Yeah, they do.
Well, and see what Tony did really quickly. He didn't back off and just let Jeffrey right away. He jumped that other thing and said, I want you to know that at the end of the race, like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all the psychological battle that goes on between these riders.
What a great ride, though, for the qualifying race winner yesterday, the pole man. Number 27, Arminas Jasakonis. He takes a 3rd place finish for the 2nd time in 2017. And as you said before, Jeff, he tees himself up perfectly now for a shot at getting on the podium in MXGP for the first time ever.
Yeah, Jasakonis on the Suzuki matches his personal best, but last time he had it in 2nd moto after no points in the 1st moto.
Right, here's your winner, Jeffrey Hurlings, getting ready to talk to Lisa Leyland. He was a winner by 1.2 seconds. Let's hear what he has to say.
Jeffrey Hurlings, congratulations. Once again, it was battle of the teammates out there, and you clearly had some unfinished business.
Yeah, definitely. But I still don't feel recovered from last weekend. You know, it was so bad to get a heat stroke. You know, it's you can die from that. So did a good 1st moto. 2nd moto, I'm not going to take risk. I mean, most about to go home healthy. So 2nd moto, do what I can and make the best of it.
Good luck for the 2nd moto.
Interesting comments there from Jeffrey Hurlings. Still not fully recovered, he said, from last week, Jeff. But he picked up 25 points here. In that respect, it matters to him. But
yeah, I mean, it was a great ride for the Red Bull KTM 450 rider here. I mean, certainly showed all of his skills and stuff. Now, when you look at the dynamics of the entire day or the entire weekend, this was only half of the equation, right? Now we have a 2nd moto that's going to come up later on today. It's going to be hotter. The track is going to be way gnarlier. It's going to be way rougher. And so now you kind of get the feeling that, okay, watch how Tony comes over just behind him.
Yeah.
To win the overall, you got to put 2 motos together, not just one. So what a great, to me, just this psychological battle between 2 great champions.
Official confirmation then, MXGP Race 1, Jeffrey Hurlings, Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM's 1st and 2nd, Suzuki World MXGP's, Arminas Jasakonis 3rd, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Max Nagel, Roman Febvre, Monster Energy Yamaha, Commander Sal 6th, Monster Energy Kawasaki, Glenn Koldenoff 7th, HRC Honda's Tim Geiser 8th, the Wilvo Yamaha MXGP of Arno Tonus was 9, and Max Anstey was 10. Bobryshev 11th, Paulin 12th, Tano Leop on the Ottobiano Husqvarna 13, the Red Moto Honda of Lupino 14, Jeremy Van Horebeek was 15, Boutron on the Marchetti Racing Team KTM was 16, it was Maxime Dupre on the Bird Racing Kawasaki, Rui Gonçalves, Jeffrey DeWolf and Lucas Neurauter. Cairoli, though, leads the championship still. DeSalle back up to 2nd. And then just after that, we have Paulin 3rd. Sorry, Dupre, not on the Bud Racing Kawasaki, but Geben van Venrooy Kawasaki, of course, the MXGP team, satellite team. Hurlings 4th. He's now only 13 points behind Gauthier Paulin in that battle for 3rd place in the championship. Here's what happened, MXGP Race 1.
Wow, off the start, it was a battle. Look down the inside. Cairoli on the Red Bull KTM would come across the line first, followed by his teammate, Jeffrey Hurlings, and Nagel, Jasakonis.
Yeah, he was 4th.
Heat race or qualifying race winner would be 4th.
Febvre was in there as well on the Yamaha in 5th. DeSalle behind him 6th, and it was Koldenoff from the 2 Hondas of Geiser and Bobryshev. Hurlings struck early, though, with that move on the Lithuanian on his Suzuki. Didn't quite make it happen at the top of the hill, but he made sure of it at the bottom and set up that race with Cairoli, who was already 2 or 3 seconds clear, even early on in the moto.
Yeah, great battle there as Hurlings gets into 2nd, uses some great instinct there to not allow Jasikonis to come back. And then the crowd, it really got into it here. And
this was the battle, though. Febvre and Dessau.
Febvre and Dessau banging bars. Dessau goes back
twice,
pushes him out, but Febvre, he'd have to work for about 30 minutes to make that move. Meanwhile, this is Tixier getting to the inside of Borbyshev, just pushing him out, just ever so slightly to take that move, and that would be good enough for...
Well, it was all to no avail. He was out of the points in the end.
So Cairoli makes some mistakes, and watch this. Herlings takes the lead over the finish line jump. The place here at Agada is going nuts. The fans were loving this battle for the lead, and finally, Febvre just says, okay, I've had enough, and just squares up Dessau and takes that move, takes that spot.
And that was good enough for Febvre to come home in 5th, but it was a win for Jeffrey Herlings. Tony Cairoli was 2nd, Jasikonis 3rd. Some of the best moments coming up then from MXGP Race 1 in a moment, but of course we have the Fox hole shot to deal with first. Who was it, though, that crossed that Fox hole shot line first? It was Cairoli at the top of the hill, but was it the Red Bull KTM at the bottom of the hill? Yes or no? Soon find out as we go down there to our GoPro cam. Here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, by about a week. Tony Cairoli for the 10th time then this year.
One of those Kawasaki riders on the outside. I think that was probably Dessau. He was close, but hole shot, Fox hole shot goes to Tony Cairoli. He's got 10.
Yeah.
There is always a correlation between hole shots and race wins and being the points leader. It is the small part of the race when you look at it, just the first 5 seconds, 4 seconds, but it just sets the pace for everything.
Right, take a look at some of the best moments then from MXGP Race 1. That was MXGP Race 1. Join us in just over an hour when we return for MX2 Race 2, and then swiftly followed by MXGP Race 2. See you then.